Hello and welcome to this video introducing PyMOL 3. In June 2023, Schrödinger hosted an Educators Week event where we debuted PyMOL 3.0 beta. The rest of this video is an excerpt from Product Manager Norris Salam's talk at that event to provide both the context for this momentous PyMOL update and to highlight some of the exciting new features that are part of PyMOL 3. A heads up that some of the user interface visuals and the terminology used in this beta debut have been updated in the official release version of PyMOL 3 that we'll be using in this course. But we'll be getting into how to use a lot of these new features so you can follow along via the hands-on workflows in later videos. We also have a new documentation page linked in the video description where you can learn more about the new PyMOL 3 features and layout. Over to Norris.
Now, at the time, as well as today, PyMOL is best known as a powerful and popular software tool for visualizing and analyzing molecular structures. It's widely used in the field of structural biology and biochemistry to explore and understand three-dimensional structures of proteins, nucleic acids, and other molecules. PyMOL provides high-quality visual representations of molecular structures, allowing researchers to analyze and interpret complex biological data. And it offers a basic range of features and functionalities for building, measuring, and analysis, though it does lack the sophistication for high-end simulations, predictions, and other in-depth analysis that our other tools like Maestro offers with the Schrödinger suite of applications, but more on that later. And as illustrated on the right, the stunning molecular graphic images are often used in covers for high-end journals for communicating structural results. And just like in the video, PyMOL's a champion at creating animations and movies too. Now, this is a critical point that I'd like to take a moment to stress here. Scientific animations and movies captivate, educate, and inspire. They can communicate complex scientific concepts, overcoming challenges, provide immersive engagement, allowing interactive exploration and 360-degree views of molecular structures through zooming, rotating, and dissecting objects. They enhance our understanding, fostering insights, clarity, and facilitating communication and collaboration within the scientific community for researchers and students alike. Indeed, 10 years ago, I posted this video on YouTube, which you can tell from the title, A Basic Introduction to Drugs, Drug Targets, and Molecular Interactions, had an education focus, teaching the audience some science and capturing their attention and explaining it using PyMOL animations. It received hundreds of thousands of views and thousands of likes, and the comments were overwhelmingly positive. But there was a consistent signal amongst the public and private comments that always stayed with me, which was, exactly how did you do this? Over the years, that question persisted. While there was no denying how amazing the imagery was coming out of PyMOL, the process of creating a movie in PyMOL was never intuitive, or at least not to many folks. Now, yes, PyMOL has a massive community. There are some amazing educational tutorials on how to use PyMOL, and there are specific tutorials on movie making, including this one titled Simple PyMOL Movie Guide. Now, they're all fine, but immediately you notice that there are a lot of PyMOL commands and code. In fact, the PyMOL Wiki Movie School has many good examples, but most of which, again, show complicated PyMOL commands and Python code that isn't very user-friendly. So that brings us back to where we are today. One of the main goals in improving PyMOL was to lean in on its strengths of creating stunning molecular images and animations, but also to improve the user experience when it comes to doing so. So, with that, let's take a look at a work in progress, which is PyMOL 3.0 beta. Here we see a modern, sleek, and minimalist interface. It strikes a balance between being fresh and innovative with a sense of familiarity and nostalgia. Anyone who knows PyMOL should recognize the resemblance immediately. Here we see a side-by-side of old and new PyMOL, both jam-packed with objects representing a real-world scenario. But again, we see a blend of novelty and comfort, introducing innovative elements while maintaining a sense of recognition and familiarity. Here we see the new toolbar and selection controls, while revealing less commonly used features like the mouse matrix, which can be hidden. The viewer remains unchanged. The names panel looks more elegant and less cluttered, while the global frames control maintains one-click access to playing through frames and states. A new states menu provides even more independent control of states, while the infamous PyMOL command log remains optionally visible. And here we see the new scenes panel and the new movie timeline, both of which we'll cover shortly in more detail. Finally, we see here the new Manage Custom Presets panel to help organize and share one-click presets that are often complicated to set up. So first, let's talk about scenes. Scenes can be used as storyboards when it comes to creating movies in PyMOL. One simply has to plan out individual shots for a movie by saving them as a scene, which can then be combined automatically into a movie. But first, let's take a quick demo of how to save scenes. Here, we start with a protein with the cartoon ribbons zoomed out. We simply click the Save Scene button to save this as Scene 1. Suppose then we add a surface and save this as Scene 2. And suppose now we apply a more advanced preset. And save this as a scene. Now, simply clicking the thumbnails on the left, we can navigate easily to each scene. Now, here's a slide depicting how one can use the Send to PyMOL dialog in Maestro to send Maestro scenes over to PyMOL. We'll go over that in a bit more detail soon. For now, let's go over the new movie making capability in PyMOL 3.0 beta. We'll start with a basic demo covering camera views. Here we open up the movie timeline and make a note of the playhead. All we need to do is right-click on the timeline track and store the camera view. We can then move to another camera angle, such as closer in on the ligand, and again right-click to store the camera view. Moving the playhead plays the movie. One can also move the keyframe to update the viewer. And one can drop in another keyframe to adjust the camera movement as well. Up next are programs. So just like before, we can start with a couple of camera views. But now we can right-click to add a program that notates the camera. Again, one can easily move the keyframe and program on the timeline to edit the movie. The next demo combines what we saw with scenes and using scenes as a storyboard to create a movie. Notice now, scene keyframes are placed on the timeline, showing animation from one scene to the next. And these can also be combined with camera views. And also combined with programs. Now in this demo, we start with scenes from Maestro. Using the Send to PyMOL dialog, these scenes are not only sent to PyMOL and appear as PyMOL scenes, but each scene is automatically converted into the Notate program. This here highlights the ease of use and simplicity in creating a movie. At no point did one need to enter any PyMOL commands. But with that said, we have made advanced movie making simpler. In this example, we start with a protein surface, but now we add a new track that controls the object's settings, specifically the transparency of the surface. By storing different values of the object's surface transparency, one can control the fade of the surface, fading between keyframes. And of course, these can be combined with camera views. Now, the last new feature introduced in PyMOL 3.0 beta is an update to presets. The new Manage Custom Presets dialog allows users to create their own presets as well as share presets with colleagues. The example here shows a complicated preset taken directly from the PyMOL wiki gallery, and what was 15 plus commands can now be combined and stored into one single preset for single-click access. So now let me end by sharing this big picture workflow. On the left, we have Maestro. Imagine here one starts with raw 3D data, where they set up cutting-edge predictive computational modeling and machine learning workflows. Then they continue to use Maestro to structurally visualize and analyze the results. Now, rather than save the results as an image for publication, they can save key milestones and data points as scenes, which they then pass over to PyMOL. PyMOL is then used to generate an animation or apply cool new presets, and then publish this as a movie. Our hope is to see more and more PyMOL movies on the various social media platforms, things like YouTube, Instagram, and Twitter. So, a big thanks to our small but elite PyMOL team. Thank you and enjoy the rest of the Schrodinger's Educators Week 2023. Bye for now.
That wraps up this brief introduction to PyMOL 3. As someone taking the Visualizing Science with PyMOL 3 course, we are pleased that you are part of the PyMOL community, and we look forward to seeing and hearing about how you are using this powerful platform. Connect with the PyMOL community via the PyMOL wiki at pymolwiki.org and tag us in your PyMOL 3 images and movies on the Schrodinger socials. Thanks for watching.